So, Simon, what we know regards Chelsea and the takeover is this. It marks the end of this 5-day exclusivity period for Todd Bowley's consortium to buy Chelsea. Now, it comes as Roman Abramovich released a statement last night denying reports that surfaced earlier this week that suggested he was calling in the debt owed to him by Chelsea. And the statement was interesting, wasn't it? I'll just pick out a couple of the lines in it. The statement says, firstly, Mr. Abramovich's intentions in relation to gifting the proceeds from the Chelsea sale to charity have not changed. Then it says, secondly, Mr. Abramovich has not asked for any loan to be repaid to him. Such suggestions are entirely false, as are suggestions that Mr. Abramovich increased the price of the club last minute. Now, this changes the narrative, Simon. Why did it take almost between 48 and 72 hours to actually set the record straight on this?
Set the record straight with who?
Well, on everything. This is not what we were told the other day. This is not what we were led to believe.
Who were we told it by? By him? Roman Abramovich works for the British media, does he? If the buyers of the football club are comfortable with the transaction, then they never said that they weren't. So we've relied on sources suggesting that Roman Abramovich was calling in his loans. I bet he probably was exploring the possibility. I bet there were some questions being asked. I bet, like I said the other day, and you don't like it because you interviewed him, I bet people like David Dean popping up with their two pennies about how his money should be distributed probably gets on people's nerves because it's none of his business. So I bet all of that in the background probably, but we had no evidence supporting the fact that Abramovich has said he wanted his loans back and that he wanted the price raised. There was no substantiation part behind that. We just took it at face value.
So why did he choose to come out and set the record straight?
Because now he has to, because the narrative's being built up.
So it wasn't a nothing story. He should have done it on Tuesday.
No, he can do it when he wants. He don't work for you or me. He can do it when he wants. He's under no obligation to speak to anybody. He's already got to suffer the indignation of certain things, and rightly so, because of the associations he's chosen to have in his life. And as I said to you the other day, being a robber baron and profiting from it, as he has done from the Russian wealth, gives him a consequence, whether people agree with it or not. And I think most people do at this moment in time. So he doesn't have to sit there jumping up and down to the British media saying, I'll refute and dispute every single time there's some ridiculous, spurious allegation. What about the
Chelsea fans?
But the Chelsea fans will just have to wait until he determines his outcome. And the fact of the matter is, no one's heard from the buyer saying, oh, hang on a second, on that basis, we're not going to buy the football club. We heard the exact contrary.
So it's a misinformed story,
we put meat on the bone.
He had to put the record straight, Simon, and we were led to believe...
And he did. And he has.
One minute he's calling back the loan.
We were led to believe by who? Sky.
$1.5 billion. And then the next thing, I'm actually not calling back in the loan.
But he never said he was calling in the loan. What we've heard from Roman Abramovich, right? And we put some meat on the bone the other day was, I am going to forsake any commercial interest. We've never heard anything to the contrary of that from Roman Abramovich himself.
In fairness to him, correct.
Simon, some very high-profile, credible journalists were saying the other day...
Is there such a thing?
You see, I knew I would never get near getting the sentence out. That the goalposts were shifting, that the narrative was changing.
But they also started off with a lot of old nonsense about the clock's ticking down, and we all know that the licence can be extended. We all know there's a solution to every single situation, but the solutions weren't put forward in the debate. Now they're being put forward. I'll tell you why they're being put forward is because grown-ups like you and I had a discussion the other day about the solution to the problems. Actually, if Abramovich does this, now all of a sudden it's appearing in broadsheets.
Yeah.
Sky Sports have adapted their pitch because someone that said something sensible, which was you and I, talked about the solutions rather than
are we now those
drama.
Are we in the final throes now of this deal being done?
Yes, of course we are.
Because
of course we are.
I mean, if you look at the way that the team is, Jim, has slipped a little bit, haven't we? I mean, we haven't talked a lot about football on this show today, but Chelsea have slipped a little bit. Looking over their shoulder now.
Are you going to blame that on the players?
They have a nice FA Cup.
Where were you during the first hour about Rangers, West Ham and Leicester?
Yeah, but in terms of the English Premier League as well. But
Chelsea feels that's his forte. His expertise area. Never having been a coach or a manager, but that's his expertise.
I did actually. I coached an Oxford University football team for 2 seasons.
And how did they get on?
Enjoyed
and how did they get on?
They were promoted out of their division they were in for the very first time. We lost to Cambridge though, which is the game that.
Is that glass double glazed? Go on, Martin. On you go.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make that point, and I made it.
Are you seriously, for the purpose of this conversation, attributing the decline in Chelsea's performance on the pitch to what's happening off it?
I don't think it's helping. They're only human, Simon. I know we go into this debate every time, but their form has really been concerning in recent weeks.
They're getting
brilliant performance against Real Madrid as it was.
Yes,
let's not forget they won that game out there.
Explain to us all, for those that have worked in football and haven't, how people getting paid their wages, being not affected by anything besides their own performances, and Roman Abramovich having to give up a football club, and none of them really having a relationship with him anyway, how does that affect a player? Because I don't understand it.
Well, because of a thing called certainty and stability, and that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
What?
You can't tell me that money is their biggest driver because they're very comfortably off. They want to be playing in the team. They want to be in that first 11. They want to be winning trophies. Well, you're talking about the change that's taken place at the football club, and I'm talking about the necessity.
Same manager.
I'm talking about the necessity for this to be sorted out at boardroom level as soon as possible, so the players and everybody within the group, manager included.
I mean, in my experience, players couldn't care less who their manager is, unless the manager really is someone that either benefits them or disadvantages them. They don't really care who their owner is. They don't need to have a relationship with their owner. What they really want to make sure is that they're okay, that their world is okay.
Tuchel cares.
But Tuchel's a constant theme. So Tuchel's managing them. So Tuchel hasn't been taken out. His job's not in jeopardy. He's not up for grabs. So he's still there. So why would these group of players suddenly have some form of excuse for their own performances?
Well, it may surprise you that some players are loyal.
Martin, if you were a Chelsea player, would you pay the blindest bit of
course I would, Jim. Of course I would.
Whether it's Abramovich at the top of the house, Todd Bowley at the top of the house, or whoever at the top of the house?
Look, they're used to change at that football club. There's no doubt, and it's almost become a commonplace.
So what's your
but
point?
nonetheless, I feel that they want that resolved as soon as possible. The club needs to be able to move on, Jim. There's targets. There's players they need to buy. They need to look in the transfer.
So when they got beat 4-1 by Brentford, that's because Roman Abramovich was not in the club?
No, that was down to the way the Brentford played on the day. But
when they beat Palace in the FA Cup semi-final, was that because Roman Abramovich wasn't there?
Say that the players are all okay at Chelsea and they're not looking to sort their futures out. There's a list of players there that need to be resolved. They haven't got a centre-half now.
And I know they'll be going to the poorhouse after they leave Chelsea, so you're absolutely right. They must be terrified for their futures. But the bottom line is that we're looking at a group of players whose performances have drifted away, and you're trying to make some argument, and it's not me battering players before you get into that narrative, you're trying to make some argument that it's somehow something to do with an owner that probably most of them don't know. All of them have career paths that will take them into Antonio Rudiger wants to go to XYZ club so he can get £200,000 a week and a £10 million sign-on.
But he may well have stayed if they didn't have the problem with Abramovich.
But he's hardly going off somewhere dreadful, is he? So the bottom line is, whilst you finish your career at Chelsea,
none of this is making Chelsea stronger, is it? None of this is making stronger.
No, but it's not.
It's making them weaker.
Correct.
And what they've built over many years is about to implode if they don't sort things out at the ownership at the top level.
In the longer game, no, it's not making them stronger. In the here and now, where people are accountable, we're all accountable. If I say something stupid on radio, I'm accountable for it. If players don't perform, they must be accountable for it. And it should never be a narrative that what happens somewhere else is a reason or excuse, specifically and explicitly, when it's really not affecting those individual players. Those players still have a commercial and professional responsibility to do their jobs.
And I expect to see that, and we'll see a very good cup final when we get there. But there's plenty for Chelsea to play for so far, and they could slip out of the top four.
I see quite a lot of Chelsea fans actually getting in touch. It'd be interesting to hear from them. I mean, do you believe, Martin, that any of the players are impacted by what's going on?
Of course they are, Jim. They love the club, but it's a group of players that they come together to win something, don't they? You have to believe that. If you don't believe that, look at Liverpool, what's happening now. They're about to do what Chelsea did last season. You don't do that if you haven't got people that are collectively together, and that can quickly break up. But they need to sort out the ownership as quick as possible.
And I agree with it should be sorted out sooner than later.
Of course, because you can't sign players, you can't invest in the future. But the here and now is what we're talking about, not what happens at the end of the season.
Is it impacting the players and their performances on the pitch? Is this why certain things have gone wrong for Chelsea on the pitch? Chelsea fans, what do you think?
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.